What's going on, everyone? My name's Eric, and today we are going to be checking out a guitar that, in my opinion, has always gone under the radar, maybe not gotten the love that it has deserved, and a guitar that just is not that flashy, but has a lot of really awesome characteristics that we're going to be diving into later in this video. Without further ado, this is the Ibanez Prestige RGD 2127Z. This is a no-nonsense metal machine. Very simple electronics, very simple specs. It's designed to shred, it's designed to riff. But one thing that I never understood when I was young and getting into guitar is why someone would want one of these Prestige 7-string guitars or an Ibanez Prestige that kind of looked like this when there was other guitars that were priced around the same price points as these guitars that looked a little bit more exciting and maybe had a couple more name brand features on the guitars. But that's what I really want to talk about today. Some of the things you might not know about these Ibanez Prestige guitars, and really why these used Prestige guitars are still going to be the best bang for your buck if you're looking for an all-around metal guitar, if you're looking for an all-around wicked guitar in general. The used Prestige is still where it's at. Let's get into it. So now let's learn a little bit more about this guitar. This was built in around 2010 and had a 7 to 8 year run when it was then discontinued. This was offered globally under Ibanez guitars, and where this guitar stands is this is kind of like the highest end 7-string that you could get without going to a J Custom or something made in the Sugi factory, which is where that super expensive high-end Meshuggah 8-string is made. And for the price that these things were rolling in at, which is around 1,600 Canadian back in 2010 to 2017, or around 1,200 American dollars, you got a lot of guitar for what these guitars were selling for, and on the used market and the new market, and for what these guitars were in comparison to some of the other guitars that were being offered in that price point here. And especially on the used market as well, these guitars are really hard to beat. And a classic thing with a lot of these used Prestige guitars is that they're usually modded. You get some different pickups in them, maybe a little bit of different hardware. Someone has maybe even changed the finish on them. So you can get a really good guitar for not a lot of money on the used market. Getting to some of the specs and features, and also part of why some of these guitars just kind of went under the radar, and maybe we just kind of didn't care about them. We got a basswood body. We have Ibanez's own proprietary pickups. We have the V8 and the V7 pickups, the 7-string variants of them. 3-way pickup selector in a really nice position right here. This is a really great spot for it. One volume knob, no tone, nothing else, no push-pull. Would have been nice to see that on there for some single coil options. We have the Ibanez Edge Zero bridge. Very comfy bridge, low profile design. Fine tuners are all the way back here, and where you lock the strings in is just a little bit closer up here. Really nice, really easy to set up, a little bit easier than a Floyd Rose and some of those other Floyd Rose design bridges. Flipping the guitar to the back, we have the ZR Tremolo stabilizer system, which is probably my favorite trend stabilizer system. This guitar has a thumb wheel to adjust the overall tension, which actually replaces the 2 screws that would go into the back of the guitar, which you have to adjust with a screwdriver. On some other Floyd Rose style bridges, this is super easy to use. You don't really have to use a lot of pressure to move this. It's simple. There's even a cutout on the back plastic for you to adjust it and everything like that. It's just great. It feels great. I got a full video that will give you a walkthrough on how to set this bridge up and deal with the ZR trem stabilizer and all things like that. I'm going to link to it. Go ahead and check it out after this video. Again, one of my favorite bridges and one of my favorite Ibanez designs of all time. Keeping to the back of the guitar here, we have the Ibanez AANJ neck heel, which is super comfy, especially with the Ibanez RGD body here. Going up to the 24th fret, no issues at all. My hand feels very comfy holding on to that bolt-on neck design here, and yeah, Ibanez just kind of got it right the first time when they made that AANJ neck heel. It's really great. It feels really great. When we're going up to the neck here, we have a 26.5-inch scale length design on the Ibanez Wizard profile here. We have a 5-piece neck, maple and wenge. This guitar also has 2 titanium rods that are in the neck to help keep it straight. Again, really great. No other companies were really doing that at the time unless it was Ibanez. We then have 24 nickel frets, rosewood fingerboard, dot inlays, Not the most exciting inlays that you would get for a $1,700 guitar, but it is what it is. You kind of have to look past it. Another interesting thing about this guitar and about all the Ibanez Prestige models is that you are going to get the Ibanez Prestige fret edge treatment. And what that means is that the people that are making these Ibanez guitars in the Ibanez factory in Japan, they're spending some extra time, love, and care on the fret edges so they are actually rolling them, makes them feel a little bit more worn in, makes them feel super smooth. There's no sharp fret edges, no tall frets or anything like that. These frets feel absolutely so good when you're getting one of these Ibanez Prestige guitars. They just feel at home. It feels like the guitar has been played in just a little bit. They're so smooth and so comfy. That's another thing that I just really didn't understand about these Ibanez guitars until like actually playing them, you know, was the Prestige fret edge treatment. Sure, you could write about it in like a brochure and a pamphlet, but when you actually play an Ibanez Prestige, you're then gonna understand where some of that extra money is going, especially when you are getting that fret edge treatment right here. Going up here, we get the Ibanez locking nut. We get some Goto non-locking tuners, which you don't really need locking tuners on a guitar that has a locking nut and a locking bridge. And that's kind of it on this guitar here. We got a little bit of a volute just to reinforce the headstock here with those titanium rods. And of course, to tie this guitar all in together, this guitar is finished in that classic Ibanez Invisible Shadow finish. It's a satin black finish. As you can see, since this is a used Prestige, you could see some of the wear points right here of where, you know, I'm playing or where the previous owners of this guitar has been playing. And yeah, you know, this guitar wears in really nicely. The old joke was that Ibanez kind of has like a paper thin finish because yeah, there are some dings on this guitar. And if you do have one of these Ibanez guitars, you're gonna notice that the finishes on them kind of ding and show the underlying wood a little bit easier than some other finishes. But I gotta say, like, if you could live with that and you could see like where you were actually playing the guitar and seeing like, you know, the life that this guitar has lived, like, this thing is pretty deadly. So that's gonna do it for the specs and features on this guitar. Let's plug it in and let's hear and see what this guitar is all about. So after plugging this guitar in, living with it, setting it up, and recording some music with it, which you're gonna hear later on, and if it's already released, I'm gonna link to it right now. I gotta say, I was, you know, a fool for overlooking this guitar and not really understanding what the Prestige models were all about so many years ago. And if you are young and watching this video or just getting into guitar and you're checking out some of these Ibanez Prestige models and you're hearing the lore about these guitars, like, it's totally true that a used Prestige or a new Prestige is kind of the way to go. And honestly, if you're on a budget, a used Prestige is just going to be the way to go if you want a super high quality guitar. And yeah, anything that comes from Japan and is made in Japan in terms of guitars is just going to be at the utmost level and the utmost caliber. These guitars are absolutely unreal. Now, getting back to some of my initial points of like why I kind of overlooked this guitar, and it had to do with me being young and not understanding that a lot of these in-house products are actually really amazing. When I was younger and playing guitar, a lot of those in-house products, you know, the in-house made bridge and the in-house pickups and tuners, things like that, things that were stamped by the company, were generally not that good back in the day. Now, that was on a lot of the import guitars and even those higher end import guitars that I was playing when I was getting into guitar. But I didn't understand that when you had a company like Ibanez making a lot of these in-house products as well, that they were actually really killer. I think I'm actually gonna keep the pickups in this guitar because these pickups sound amazing. They actually sound kind of neutral, which is something that I kind of look for in a guitar. It's not too boomy, it's not too like high mid or like high range focused. Like, these good pickups just sit in a mix really well. And especially you having a guitar made with basswood, like this guitar just naturally sits in a mix like really well. It sounds awesome unplugged on its own, and of course I can dial it into how I want. But that's the thing, having a platform that sounds like amazing and mix ready right away and has a lot of room to add lows, mids, and highs and different things like that, it sounds awesome, and there's a lot of natural clarity that comes from these pickups as well. And I think they're rated around like 11 or 12 ohms of DC resistance, very similar to those DiMarzio Fusion Edge Ibanez pickups that are in a lot of the newer Prestige guitars. Those pickups sound amazing as well. And again, it seems like Ibanez just kind of knows how to make a really great pickup, even though it might not have your, you know, trusted brand of preferred aftermarket pickup or whatever on them. Like, these pickups sound really great. Would have been nice to see a push-pull volume pot here so then we can get some single coil guitar tones, but otherwise, you know, I can kind of live without that. Middle position here sounds really great as well. I also got to say, like, the toggle switch down here, like the access point for it, when I'm playing leads, I'm able just to flick it with my pinky like that, and it responds so well. It's in a great position for it. The volume knob is out of the way. Like, Ibanez really thought about where to put the electronics on this guitar and to actually keep it out of the way, but also keep it in a way where it's actually easily accessible when you need it. It's really good design. Edge Zero bridge, absolutely love it. Love how it's a low profile design, especially loving the Ibanez ZR trem stabilizer system. It's kind of my favorite. The Ibanez neck heel is great. The Ibanez Wizard neck is probably my favorite 7-string neck. It's flat, it's very comfy, it's wide. Feels really good. The 17-inch radius feels very comfy on this as well. One other thing about this guitar is that it does have a barrel jack, which you all know that I'm not really the biggest fan of. I've had a good amount of them fail prematurely on me, but this one has just been lasting for quite some time and I've had no issues with it. The way that the input jack is like routed on this guitar is like on the side here, so a straight cable just kind of sits in like this. You can kind of tuck it around here, especially if you got a wireless or something like that. This feels really good. I can play this in the classical position. It's not going to get dinged up. It's not going to impact the connection or anything like that. And that is something that I really like because on some of those other guitars that I've had with barrel jacks, with similar designs like this as well, they have been like shorting out and, you know, dying out or whatever it is. But this guitar and my other Ibanez Prestige, it's just lasting, and these are the stock jacks on those on both of those guitars. And this guitar is from 2013, my other one's from 2007, and I don't know, somehow Ibanez just figures it out and they make quality stuff. And if anything, that should be a mark to some of the other manufacturers to take a couple notes from the Japanese who have been absolutely crushing it in making guitars. Again, I'm foolish for overlooking these guitars and just thinking like, oh, this is just, you know, an all black 7-string guitar that has some in-house pickups and it kind of looks like whatever by comparison to some of the other guitars out there. These guitars can be had for like a really crazy good deal on the used market. Go snag one up if you're wanting a prestige 7-string, and especially if you want like a really good 7-string. If this is going to be like your first 7-string and you can live with maybe a couple dings and dents and maybe the guitar not looking like the flashiest, given this is all black, has a couple wear spots on it, this is going to be a really solid guitar. The Prestige fret edge treatment makes these necks and these guitars just play like no other. The big takeaway for me at the end of the day to you is, sure, you could read the specs online and everything like that, but if you have the ability, go try one of these guitars out. Don't be like younger me and write the guitar off because it might seem boring on paper. Go play the guitar, because that's what you got to do at the end of the day with these guitars. You got to play them. They're not just wall hangers. And that's going to do it for today's video, checking out the Ibanez Prestige 2127 7-string guitar here. All thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know your favorite Ibanez Prestige 7-string or your favorite 7-string in general. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I have tons more videos on the channel going over guitar deep dives, setup tutorials, and all things guitar related. And if you are a returning subscriber, make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss a single video that I upload. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next time.